Welcome to Around Town and happy September 1st for, here at the Immaculate Heart of Mary Church, home of our Around Town show. And I'm pleased to have with me Paul Brogan, along with my super director there, Ian Marx. And it's a pleasure to welcome you back. And happy September, Paul.
We made it through the summer.
Happy Apple Day, or whatever you want to call it.
Absolutely, whatever it is, yes.
Of course, the Hopkinton Fair is on.
This weekend, yes.
Yes, and of course, it's amazing how, they started back in mid-July with the Stratham Fair, North Haverhill. Then we skipped a couple because a couple folded up. But then now all of a sudden, here's Hopkinton.
And then Deerfield.
Deerfield is the end of September,
yes.
1st of October. Doesn't seem possible. And it doesn't feel like fall yet. I mean, because, the summer still goes until technically September
21st or something.
And then we'll switch over to the autumn season. And even then you get, unless Mother Nature switches fast and goes into fall, all I can know is we need rain bad.
Desperately.
I'm surprised Concord has not put a water ban on yet.
So am I.
I really am, because it's low.
I noticed a sign out here on Loudon Road about using water wisely.
Well,
But it's a genuine concern, and it doesn't appear that there's anything in the foreseeable future that's going to, and who knows if the winter is going to actually bring a lot of precipitation or not.
I know Chris Sanoon was hoping. He's building more bigger ski area up there at Waterville Valley. So he's hoping for more snow, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting what's going to happen, but the kids are back at school.
Yes.
They had and this is what surprised me, because we always went Wednesday after Labor Day.
Yes, absolutely.
None of this.
Never going in August. Who would have? And we still got out the same time, and we didn't have any more vacation days.
No.
We had the same number, and yet we didn't start until after.
Because they've got all these teacher conventions now, but
Yes.
we only had conferences. We only had one
Right.
day off for teacher convention. That was in October.
Yes. So did we.
And so that was all we had. But now they're off for teacher conferences or some darn thing. But but other than that, it was crazy. But and week of Thanksgiving, we did go up to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We just didn't go Monday and Tuesday. It was always Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Right.
And Christmas Eve or Christmas, it depended on
what day it fell.
Yeah.
And if it fell in a certain way, we'd usually go half a day on Christmas Eve day in the morning and get out at noontime, depending on how it fell. But no, it was very structured, but it was very dependable, and you just knew if somebody said, when do you start school? The Wednesday after Labor Day. You didn't need to know a date or anything else. You just knew that was when it was.
And of course, the Lowe's have got their Halloween stuff out. Oh my goodness. They've got this huge bat down there. $179. And it blows up, of course. It is huge.
And Halloween has become such an extravaganza, which I never would have. I mean, years ago, you had trick or treat, and the Five and Dimes had cut out Halloween things you could buy after the 1st of October and put up. And then we cut a pumpkin, and sometimes you put, something on the door, some kind of design. But now people put up lights that rival Christmas lights in some instances, and these, tableaus on their front lawns with all of these lighted things, and it's just become spectacular.
I can remember prior to 1971. Halloween was big. Not like kids went everywhere. Then we had a couple of years, 3-4 years in there, that there was trouble everywhere. Detroit had a big thing, putting stuff in apples and all that. And so I organized a Halloween parade on the Concord Heights. I had 2 bands, Concord High and Merrimack Valley, and the kids marched in it with their costumes. We had some activities over at the park. And that was it. We had a good crowd. But then, of course, then by 75, '76, it started to come back again, and we stopped having the parade.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was a big deal. And now it's like even the adults are dressing up.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and I've always laughed at it because there was one time when I was in Pittsfield, there was a lady who came in and there was a baby, and she was dressed up too. And we're trick-or-treating for the baby, and I thought, well, okay, the baby wanted Snickers. You know, and the baby was only about 2 days old. but
Maybe
no.
they rented the baby.
Yeah,
just
good
had
day,
an
I don't
excuse
know.
to go out and get the
But
candy.
it's now a big day.
It
Big
is.
time,
It is.
You know? And
The only
stores-
place it used to be big when we were kids was up in the Auburn Street area.
Oh, it
Even
still
then,
is. Still is.
Yes, it's even more now. They have bus loads they're dropping off. But that was that whole area where people did go from all over the city up there and line up
Wow,
to
that
get their
house-
things.
That house
Yes.
still has the I have to sell. They have to hand out ice cream.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Still do.
Yes.
It was in there. It was in the bill of sale or something that they had to do ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just amazing,
It is. It is.
you know. And I thought, boy, I've got a lot of Halloween lights I put out, but this year I'm only going to do a few. And this year in Christmas I'm cutting way back. I don't have the help to do it, and it's a lot of work. With the shape that my legs now are in, and now that I'm in with the news I got about my legs and feet, I'm just not gonna. I hate to, but I can't do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, and I hate to ask somebody, would you please come over and help me string them up? Or they're glad to string them up, but to come back and take them down,
Mm-hmm.
because I always like to try to beat the snowstorm
Right.
before New
Exactly.
Year's.
Yes.
But
yes.
yeah, so we got that, and of course I was funny. I was up to Walmart, and I said, "Gee, getting ready for Christmas stuff? Oh yeah, it's coming out very shortly."
Oh, it is. It is.
This was out in that big area.
Yes.
They got it. And of
Oh,
course-
anytime now, the trees will be, all of the different kinds of trees.
Well, I still say, you remember Labor Day weekend, back in the early, mid 60s or late 60s, when the Monitor had a picture, Britt's department store, they had the big glass door, and they had all these fake Christmas trees lit up in them. And it said that Britt's is ready for Christmas, and it was Labor Day weekend. And we laughed about that, and everything. Oh my gosh, they really were hustling. But that's the way it was.
It was.
But people will, like, I had a guy tell me the other day, I was in trying to find something, and I know an air conditioner, and of course they're about out of them. But he told me, he said, you gotta remember now, it may be August, but the merchants are 3 months ahead of you
Right.
thinking.
Yes. Yes.
So right now they're now getting ready for Christmas stuff.
Right. Right. Because by Christmas time, they've already moved into spring and summer
Or Valentine's.
closing.
Valentine's
yes.
and then Easter, depending when Easter is.
Mm-hmm.
But he said, you got to remember that 3 months ahead.
Now, do we still have both of the Halloween stores up on the heights, or is there only the one where Circuit City used to
There's
be?
only that one there.
Okay.
The
Because there
other
used
one-
to be one where Blockbuster was,
Yeah,
right?
and I haven't. It was there last year, but I don't know because as you mentioned,
Yes.
supposedly the movie theater's been going to be torn down.
And
Dairy Queen's coming in, but no, there's no action there.
no. And something else was going to also come in, but they weren't specific as to
No.
what it was. It was going to be retail space
Yeah.
or a restaurant,
Yeah.
but I don't think we really need too many more restaurants up on the Loudon Road area. But
Well, we lost Kentucky Fried Chicken.
that's true.
Gone.
That's true.
And goodness no, I mean I don't know who would go in there unless it's a burger place called Sonic Burger or Sonic Hot Dog or
Yes,
something.
I see them advertised on television.
Yeah, maybe
Never
that's
been to
going
one.
to come in. I don't know. I can't imagine really.
Wow.
But it's there. But
It
you know,
is.
it's just a shame because I remember the house that used to sit there. That was the Toll family house there. And then where the jewelry shop is was Toll's Market. But it's just really sad how, and of course they're still chewing about Loudon Road, you
Yes,
know. And,
yes. There's going to be a public meeting sometime this month, isn't there, to get input?
supposed to, then they're supposed to vote, but
And
if the city is wise, then they won't bother with it.
exactly, and there have been some very insightful letters, and there was a My Turn by someone associated with Hodges, and it makes a lot of sense what they're all saying.
Yeah.
And I think the damage that would be caused, and see, something like that would make me hesitate if I were Dairy Queen or somebody else. Do I want to come into something that sounds as though the future is going to be chaotic for it?
Yeah.
Getting a start when there's that kind of thing going on is not going to be a good thing. So,
No,
but they're continuing to work on South Main Street, I see, and they're
yeah. I have such mixed emotions about that. I was talking to somebody the other day, and we were driving down there, and I had showed them they hadn't been down in Main Street, and I said, I have mixed emotions. It looks nice, but I'm not really convinced the parking is any better. I think it's worse.
Oh, the
in some
parking is much
cases.
worse because the side where you can only parallel park,
Yeah.
people don't know how to parallel park more often than not. And as they struggle in and out of there, it's holding up traffic because of the way it's
one lane.
configured,
Yeah.
and people are getting impatient. And I've seen people just get so disgusted they just drive down that middle part you're not supposed to go on fed up, and not wanting to stop themselves.
Yeah.
I don't go down there nearly as often. I walk down, but I don't go down and drive and try to park as much as I used to because it's just it's not as, I don't think, pedestrian friendly as far as for drivers or anything as it used to be.
I mean, there are so many eating places along
Yes,
Main Street
yes.
now. I mean, where are the shopping stores?
Right.
But-
There aren't really a lot of. I'll go to Things Are Cooking sometimes. I still go to the CVS. But in that whole portion, there really aren't very many places where one would go to get things on a regular basis. Like when we used to go into, you'd go into Penny's or you'd go into the Varsity Shop or, to get a clothing item. There really isn't any place except Britches to go for men's clothing on Main Street.
Yeah.
You can go down to Burlington or something like that, but that's not really bringing something to the Main Street area. So, what we really need are businesses that, well, as you had mentioned, the dollar store a number of times, where somebody would run in and, get something that if you need a comb or something, simple like that.
Yeah.
There aren't, you can go in the drugstore, but.
Well, like old five and dimes.
Yes.
How much it would be to have Newbury's back here or Woolworths, Kresge's.
Yes.
Something of that nature. But you've got some that think it's
Well, it's too old-fashioned. It's not with it and hip and happening or
Yeah.
anything else.
Yeah.
But some of the dining places are very pricey, and so
Oh, yeah.
they're not places you're going to go to 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
You would have run into the Newberry's to the luncheon counter 3 or 4 times a week if you had to, or one of the others, and or into the Puritan or later Talk of the Town.
Yeah. I know.
But it's just
And I noticed across the street that store that was like antique.
yes.
Well, I don't know if they're antiques, but they had like toys or
Yes.
little things, trains in there and
Wasn't
stuff.
it a consignment
I
place
don't know
or
what
something?
it was. But
Hilltop or something like that.
no, it was
not that.
It was down there just before where Bookland used to
Yes,
be.
yes, it's
And it was
gone.
kind of nice. I
Yes.
was surprised. They've closed their doors. They're out
Yes.
of business.
Yes.
Because I'd go in there at Christmas time and I'd
Yes.
look at the trains
Yes.
they had. Oh.
They had the old Lionel trains and all the
Yes,
things that we remember.
And how they had a lot of other knick-knack type
Yes,
things that
yes.
you could get. But
They had a shop up, I think, in Laconia or
Oh,
something.
really?
And this was, I believe, if I remember correctly, they came down here to try the Concord market.
Yeah.
And I think they suffered a lot during the construction in that
Yeah, I
part
think
of
so,
town
too.
because people that would go there aren't going to go through the dust and the dirt and all of that to get there. as a destination spot. So I think for a lot of people, I'm not going to bother. And when you get out of the habit of doing something, you lose the business.
And then the old drugstore, the old Pitchfork Records on the corner of North Main and
the Lilius property. Yes.
North Main and Pleasant Street Extension, that's still empty.
Still empty. Sad.
Sad.
And it has been since Pitchfork, right?
Oh, yeah.
And before that, what was it?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that's going way back.
I mean, it was a drugstore at one time.
Right.
But I don't remember what went in there. I thought it was Pitchfork, but there was something else in there before that.
Yes.
But I can't remember what it was.
But it's
sad to see
it
it
is.
empty.
Yeah, and it has been that way for a long time. So
I'll be interested to see what they do for the Christmas decorations again this year. But
I think the idea is on the South Main Street part to have the same thing they had last year on the North Main Street part, and visually it'll look lovely. But is it necessarily a draw to bring people down? And I don't think it is if you don't have the businesses. I mean, I'll go to Gibson's specifically because I want to get a book.
yeah,
And there are a few places like that, but there's so many that are just eating places.
yeah.
And so there again isn't the same reason, to go downtown that we used to have when you'd go down there, and you could spend 5 or 6 hours going from store to store and buying things.
And we have started sending out letters for the Christmas parade.
Yeah. And the
Christmas
tree lighting.
Yes. And I am so happy that Concord Imaging has come through again for us. They are going to be our major sponsor, and Larry Glass is just wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he has put them right in there again as the lead, I call him platinum sponsor. I'm still hoping him, but that doesn't, everybody that we've had has increased their fee they'd like to be paid to come in for.
Yes.
Which means like the music has gone up, or I'm back to 2 wagons this year. And so, despite that, and then of course I've got to pay for a fire officer, which I've never had to pay for the fireworks. And we're still waiting for Vinny TV and all those music radio stations to make up their mind if they're going to do the fireworks again. And if not, then I got to get out there and maybe try to find another station or see what else we can do. But thanks to Larry, of course, I'm still waiting for. I know that AutoServe of Tilton, Dennis Gaudette, is going to come through with his platinum donation. And I'm hoping that Steve Dupree will do what he did last year, because that was a major help there, because we lost a couple of donors.
I remember you said that.
Because it was frivolous. That word I'll never forget. Having that law firm on Main Street said it's frivolous.
Yeah, I hope the law firm looked out their window when they saw the thousands of people there having the time of their life, because they were. You had an enormous turnout last year, and the weather cooperated, and it was absolutely spectacular. It really was. And your tree last year with the extra lights really made a beautiful impression. And I hope that others will step up, because it's much more than just a frivolous event. It's a community building.
It brings the
event.
community together.
And there are not that many times when you can bring people of all ages, because you had everything from babies to people in their 70s and 80s.
And we also had some special needs, and I was so happy because Santa, they thought that Santa would not go near them, wouldn't see him, and I made sure that he did it. And the looks on their faces, I'll never forget it, Paul. The looks, the smiles on their faces when he went over there.
That's nice.
Oh,
that
that made the night for them.
You see, that makes it all worthwhile.
And I want our, our immigrant citizens to come down there.
Yes.
I know they don't celebrate Christmas, but
still,
join in.
It just gives you a feeling of community togetherness,
right. Exactly.
and whatever. It's excuse me, it's not specifically targeted for, even though the manger's there and everything else, but it's not a religious event. It's just a community building event, much like the 4th of July fireworks or anything else. And it's just an opportunity to see sometimes people you haven't seen all year come out for this. So it's what we used to do in Concord with regularity all throughout the year. All the parades we used to have downtown, everybody was united, and so it's nice what you're doing and the Grange is doing, keeping that sense of community still alive. So you need to stay around at least another 30 or 40 years to do it.
Sure.
Because
I'm sure.
Well, you have some great people working with you who clearly understand.
Hopefully they will.
The value of this, because I think that that's important.
I'm getting a kick out of watching my director because he's trying to straighten out my computer again.
Well, but if anyone can do it.
But I think he's forgot the one thing he needs to fix on it. I told him the other day about somehow on the side there, on the right side, one of my headphones there broke off inside. There's a piece in there he's got to try to get out for me. So I can't get anything. I can't listen to anything in there. Not that side there, Ian. There you go. I'm telling you, the jack of all trades. I'm going to call him Ian of all trades, because he's like a doctor. He knows.
Yes.
Right to work he goes.
He can diagnose it, and he can follow through. And if surgery is necessary, he'll do whatever needs to be done.
That's right. He gets his little stethoscope out there. And
someday you need to have him on the show, because your viewers hear us talk about him in these wonderful ways, and they may, wonder, gee, who is this Ian? He is. He's very good. Well, I'll tell you. And then, of course, he's got it on YouTube there along with 22. And exactly.
Boy, it's really done well.
Oh, people! Seriously, I hear people, all the time saying, "Oh, I really like it. I really like how it's, so interesting, and I like the topics and the subjects, and not just the shows we do, but the other shows you do, because you have a great group of people on, and you touch on every facet and aspect of the community. You have politicians on, you have people from nonprofits.
We have, and primaries coming up in 2 weeks.
Wow.
And thank goodness I don't have a primary this year. So, and then they march on to November, and I'm all set there too. Knock on wood, thank God for that. But I still, like to represent my ward the best I can. And
well, as I've said before, the people in your ward are very comfortable in knowing that if they have a problem or something they need to throw around, you always answer your emails, or you have time if they call you. You treat each of them as though they're a member of your family, and that's so important, because you recognize these are the people that elected you, but even those who might not have voted for you are your constituents, and their voices matter.
And they keep hoping, they keep thinking I'm still city councilor over here.
Yes.
And no, I'm not in. I've been out for a while. Well, you should go back in. Well, maybe next year, we'll see.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy it. I like it when people do call, and I can try to help them out. Because obviously those who haven't lived here very long, and I'm not saying names, but the ones who are in office right now haven't been up here very long, they don't know the history up here.
No. And for many people, just to be listened to matters more than anything else. You can't wave a magic wand and say, your problems are all resolved, but you can listen, and you can direct them to where maybe they can get an answer if it's not, something within your power. But that's just, that's the kind of old-fashioned connection that too often gets lost amidst egos and power plays and all of the other things. And so it's good that you're rooted in that kind of mentality.
If you're not in the country club, forget it. How I look at it, but I came from the Heights, or the old Burglar's Island.
Yeah, Burglar's Island.
I was telling that story to somebody the other day, how the Heights was known as Burglar's Island for many years. And they laughed. They couldn't get over it. And I said, yeah, because there was no way to get across the river except by boat and then finally ferry or something like that. And then they finally built a bridge.
Yes.
And that's how they got over here. But, you know, it was known as Burglar's Island, then the Dark Plains.
Yes.
And then finally Concord Plains.
Yes.
And that stayed that way. But
for a long time it was Concord Plains.
And
well, when my parents opened the dairy bar, that's what it was, you know, out in the Concord Plains.
Yeah.
Found some pictures the other day. I'll bring them in next time of when we were renovating the building up there and the finished product when it was all completed. So fine. And you look there, and it's just so deserted, that area. It's just amazing. Well, I remember as a child, I thought we were driving to another country. It seemed to take so long to get
Well, it was
there.
just 2 lanes.
It was. It was.
And all the way out
Yes.
to Chichester. And
Yes.
you know, I can remember seeing different things out that way. I mean, Loudon Road, again, was all 2 lanes all the way up through.
It was. It was.
And you saw nothing but woods up there by where the mall sits. And then you saw, finally there was Major Rod with his building that was, then finally it was sold to become, I think, Steenbeck's.
Right. Yes.
Steenbeck.
Yes.
Yeah, Steenbeck's. And then they sold out, I guess, or whatever it was, and then they moved it. But that's what it was. And then you went out to 106, and of course you had the lobster pool out there. There was Hayward Farms ice cream shop out there. And then, of course, the old Harvard restaurant.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was quite the place on Friday and Saturday nights. Oh, boy. If you had a scanner, boy, you'd hear them go up there. The police were up there for every Friday night in the summertime, especially. And Saturday night. It was funny. But those were the days.
They were. Walter Carlson was the chief of police.
Oh, yeah.
Many years.
Yeah.
It seemed like forever.
Oh,
I mean,
know.
he was just...
Well, and you know, too, Wilbur Maxfield, who was on Concord PD for years, is at Pleasant View, and he's not in very good medical shape. But I used to, when my sister was there, I'd go in and see him. He'd smile, and you know, and so finally one day I called Concord PD, and I said to the chief, I said, "What is it with your retiree officers? Don't you do anything for them? You've got one up at Pleasant View who would just give anything to see somebody from the department." And Gary Cheney went in, and I guess Paul Murphy came down, and he was so happy, you know, so happy. And now that my sister's left there, I got to go up and see him again. But you know, he would grab my hand and just so happy to see me. But boy, when he was in his day,
Yes.
he and Don Ash, I think, were having a contest as to how many tickets they were going to give out. But those were the days, though.
Oh, they were. And the officers on the beat used to come into the Concord Theater when I was working there. They would just check in to make sure there weren't rowdy patrons, no problems, and sometimes we'd slip them some free popcorn.
Yeah.
And it was just, but you weren't afraid of the police.
No.
They were your friend. They were stopping in. They knew they'd stop in Endicott Furniture on Friday night and check with Mr. Rangold. And, you know, it was a wonderful sense of safety in the community, which unfortunately we don't have today. And not because of the police, but just because of the whole changing dynamic of the world.
You had, I remember Dick Hoska, Officer Hoska. He lived over on off Westman Street, and he got us kids our little license plates for our bicycles.
Bicycles.
Yeah, God, we thought those were a big deal.
Oh, we did. We did.
We did. So. Well, Paul, we're coming to a close of another.
Again.
I know, you know, it's just like, where did the time go? And but it's been a pleasure having you come back on again.
Thank you.
And one of these days, I'll have you switch roles in with me, and you can interview me for the election.
Okay.
Even though I don't have competition, I still want to talk about what's
some of the
going on,
issues that are important to you.
and what I'm
I think
hopefully
that's
fighting.
important.
Hopefully, what I'll get next term.
Yeah.
You know, be placed.
Okay.
But
We'll have to switch seats because I'm curious as to how I'll look on that side.
oh, there you go. Goodness, yes. Look at Smiley over there. I'll tell you. But anyway, thank you for joining us, Paul. We've been here on Around Town with Paul Brogan, and if you have any comments, we'd love to hear from you. And thanks again to my director, Ian Marx, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon. Have fun at the apple orchards, and this is Around Town with Dick Patten.